Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a highly specific and honestly fascinating roadmap to immortality. We are looking directly at the Chanyan celestial philosophy, right from the writings of Shufeng. Now, immortality is a concept humanity has chased forever, right? But what we're going to explore today is absolutely not your typical scientific pursuit of extending the physical body. Instead, it is a highly structured, almost bureaucratic, spiritual expedition. If you've ever wondered what a literal step-by-step instruction manual for reaching paradise sounds like, well, you are in exactly the right place. To really grasp this, we first have to understand that this entire belief system is built around one singular, ultimate prize. The text plainly states, to accomplish a spiritual state of immortality on one's own is the only purpose of becoming a Chanyuan celestial. I really want to emphasize that word, only. This isn't a philosophy where immortality is just a nice byproduct of being a good person or, a side quest you might happen to complete. No, it is the sole defining objective, the whole shebang. Every single action, rule, and sacrifice we're about to look at is entirely dedicated to hitting this one specific spiritual target. So, what does this actually mean? What's really interesting is how the corpus defines immortality. It's not about keeping your physical body forever. It's defined specifically as a spiritual state. It's all about surviving these really rigorous tests of desire, anger, ignorance, jealousy, and pride. You have to survive calamity and hardship to finally acquire perfect enlightenment. And once you pull that off, once you achieve this Buddhahood or super celestial fruit, your reward is reaching the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world. Crucially, that means being completely free from samsara, that endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. You're finally free from worldly confusion, allowing you to experience the boundless joy of life with a capital L. To make sense of all this, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. First, the quest for immortality. Then, the three-step roadmap. After that, leaving the mortal world behind, followed by the rules of the new oasis, and finally, a holographic self-cultivation. All right, let's jump into Section 1, the three-step roadmap. It's time to pay the tolls. You see, before reaching paradise, the text outlines some extremely heavy tolls and prerequisites. You can't just wish your way into the Elysium world. There is a crystal-clear, highly regimented path you have to walk. The philosophy dictates exactly 3 numbered steps. Step 1 is pure education. You've got to read the Chanyuan corpus and the Shuifeng corpus to fully understand the profound mysteries of time and space. Step 2 is where it gets incredibly demanding. You have to work hard to pay off and completely eliminate all your debts from many past generations in the mortal world. You are totally severing those worldly ties. And finally, Step 3 requires you to physically and spiritually build what they call the new oasis for life. This means actively cleaning out the dirt from your own soul garden and practicing formless almsgiving. So it's a very precise sequence. Educate the mind, wipe the slate clean of generational debt, and build the new spiritual reality. The crucial takeaway here is that by accumulating these merits and freeing yourself from the mortal world, you are preparing for a literal departure. You're breaking free from what the text brilliantly calls the universal gravitation of life in the mortal world. You are essentially achieving spiritual escape velocity. And where exactly are you flying off to? Very specific destinations. The 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, or the ultimate jackpot, the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world. Moving right along to Section 2. Leaving the mortal world behind. The 8 do-nots. So the guide hands you a strict list of 8 specific things you absolutely must not do if you want to succeed. The first half of these do-nots explicitly demands that you drop all mainstream secular goals. That means you are no longer pursuing ambition, money, power, status, or fame. Gone. But it goes way deeper than just living a simple, quiet life. You are literally commanded to not attempt vigorous careers, and you must completely avoid any competition with secular governments or turning against any worldly organization. The ultimate goal is to achieve total freedom from ego and freedom from form. You are effectively making yourself invisible, completely frictionless to the modern, ambitious, capitalist world. Furthermore, you must completely abandon your ego and any desire for conflict. Now, notice the very first requirement here. Do not educate others or deliver beings from torment. Actually, think about that for a second. That is a massive departure from so many other spiritual traditions where saving other people is the whole point. But here, nope. You are told to stop trying to save people and instead concentrate entirely on your own achievements. You must never show off, you have to stop all arguing and debating, and you must genuinely consider yourself the absolute humblest, most ordinary life in the entire world. This really puts the two paths in stark contrast, right? Standard mortal pursuits are all about arguing, teaching others, joining various organizations, and constantly striving to be great. The Chanyuan path is entirely different. Instead of fighting, you have to be perfectly flexible, act tactfully, and literally smile to the subtle metaphysics. You thank everyone, follow only the greatest creator, and unite with the Tao. It's this wild mix of almost radical passivity toward the outside world, combined with an intense, laser-focused internal discipline.
Which brings us to Section 3, Rules of the New Oasis, a whole new way of living.
Once you have successfully shed the mortal world and all its heavy gravitation, the text explains that you enter the new oasis for life. And in this oasis, internal harmony isn't just encouraged, it is strictly regulated. The philosophy demands that you entirely stop pouring out your woes or complaints. No more venting. You have to stop bothering with other people's business and concentrate purely on your own perfection. You are forbidden from finding fault or carping at others. Instead of stirring up drama or making mischief, your only social pursuit is peaceful coexistence with your brothers and sisters. It's an environment that demands absolute psychological cleanliness. But hey, it's not just about what you don't do. It's also about highly focused action. You must quietly execute your duties at a first-class level of quality. But here's the catch. You have to do it without displaying yourself or seeking any recognition whatsoever. Every single theory you learn must be implemented directly into your words and behavior. You're constantly monitoring yourself to ensure every little thing you do lines up perfectly with the teachings of gods, Buddhists, celestial beings, and sages. And through it all, your pursuit must strictly be the abundance of the spirit and soul. You have to completely ignore material interests and comforts. I love how it breaks this down into two distinct personas, totally rewriting secular psychology. The rejected persona is actually what modern society often rewards, right? The shrewd, capable, scheming, defensive person. The text actually goes so far as to call this type a sanctimonious little hypocrite whose flattering lips speak with deception. Ouch. In stark contrast, the embraced persona you need to adopt is simple, honest, sincere, and frank. You are meant to be a natural person who can spontaneously play a game or just have fun like a child. You literally have to unlearn the defensive mechanisms of adulthood.
All right, let's look at Section 4, a holographic self-cultivation.
As we get near the end of this explainer, the text throws out a massive, bold claim about where this entire process sits in the grand scheme of human history. The author states with absolute clarity, the traditional forms of self-cultivation and self-refining do not work in Lifechanyuan. They are explicitly telling you that you cannot rely on historical methods, ancient practices, or standard religious traditions to reach this specific Elysium world. The old rules are out the window. A completely unprecedented approach is required. And that unprecedented approach is what they call holographic self-cultivation. Wow, the demands here are just staggering. To achieve immortality, you have to undertake a full coordinate and holographic self-cultivation. This means you must completely rid yourself of your inherent consciousness. You have to entirely eliminate your old thinking and your deeply ingrained habits. The goal is to realize yourself with a wholly new thinking and a wholly new way of being. You aren't just improving yourself, you are systematically erasing your historical human programming to build an entirely new celestial operating system from the ground up. Which brings me to a final thought I want to leave you with from this rigorous roadmap. Think about this. If the prerequisite to accomplishing immortality is completely ridding yourself of your inherent human consciousness, your ego, your worldly desires, and literally all your historical habits, who is the you that actually arrives in paradise? Are you preserving your identity for eternity, or are you extinguishing it to become something else entirely? Think deeply about that one, and we'll see you in the next explainer.